Hi everyone, it's Joe here from Lawn Solutions Australia and welcome to the first episode of Turf Talk for 2026. Nathan, how you going?
Great, Joe. Good to be back into the year again. Feels like we didn't have much of a break really because we were busy. But good to be back. If you're new to the Turf Talk podcast, it's presented by Lawn Solutions Australia. It's a turf-specific podcast centred around the turf industry and industries that involve turf. So the sports turf industries, councils, commercial space, trades, landscaping, you name it, turf farms, turf producers. So we've got a bit for everyone in that space and hopefully we'll have another great year of content for those who are tuning in for the first time.
Yep, absolutely. And if you're ever listening and you think you know of somebody that might be of interest to us, please let us know. We do like to do things in studio here, so we do like to try and get them down to our little workshop here in Berry. But if you do think of anyone that'd be good on the podcast, please drop us a note and we'll be sure to do our best to get them on. But this first episode of 2026, we want to talk all things summer, what has been over the summer and what's still to come. We'll talk a little bit about the sport that's happening around the place, but also a little bit about what's happening in lawns, in backyards, in front yards in general in Australia at the moment, because it has been a trying few weeks, I guess it's pretty safe to say, particularly on the coast here.
It sure has. Really extreme conditions in a lot of areas, and I think it snuck up on a lot of people. We talked about in our last podcast, the 2025, getting your irrigation right and things like that. We'll go through a little bit of that today as well. Because obviously it's been extremely hot, extremely dry, not a lot of rain, and people are suffering heat stress with their lawns. It's important that we look at it and see how we can help our lawns hold up during this period.
So before we get into home lawns specifically and what to look out for, I want to just turn our attention to obviously we've just finished an Ashes series here in Australia, and for those that are interested in cricket, it is the biggest thing in cricket is a home Ashes series here in Australia, and it's topical now because grass got more coverage than probably just about ever before. Obviously the wickets were a pretty high item in the media, two-day tests, which is incredibly rare, and the MCG test was one of particular note. Never in my life would I thought 3 mils of extra grass would make front page news, and the poor curator down there at the MCG unfairly dragged through the mud, I'll say.
Cut height, so important.
The cut height. People talk about their height of cut at home, but who would have known an extra couple of mil on the MCG by someone who knows more about turf grass than just about anyone in the country. But credit to Matt Page, fronted up to the media, answered all the questions he had to answer. And then the Sydney test comes and we get an awesome wicket. The test goes for 5 days and they don't drag him out in front of the media to talk about how good the wicket was. We seem to feast on negativity here. And
we like to support the sports turf curators out there. They do a wonderful job. They're very hardworking, extremely long work hours. Things don't always go right. They plan as best as they can, but things happen and the state of the game has an impact as well. So, great series, great for Australia. Obviously, we really enjoyed it. Good period. I know I spent a lot of time on the couch watching the cricket this summer, Joe. So, great result for Australia. I
was listening to another podcast and they were talking about cricket, and they said it's just a weird phenomenon for people that don't understand cricket to realise that essentially a lawn curator has to front up to the media because he left 3 mil extra of grass on a sporting surface. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
The grounds in general, though, looked amazing. I know the outfields and everything just looked absolutely mint on the TV. They do a phenomenal job, and obviously with weather being a factor as well, a bit of rain here and there and bringing out the covers and how well drilled the teams are.
Melbourne was mid-teens through December weather-wise, so trying to generate it's couch grass on the wickets. Trying to generate couch grass growth is really, really difficult. But instead of the poor curator fronting up to the media, how about a couple of these batsmen who are driving on the up at 6 thump at the ball that's hanging out there? So I think
try not to have too big a dig at baseball.
I won't. They do it to themselves. I don't need to give them too much criticism on here. 4-1. Let's move on. So. Onto home lawns now, and we're 2 hours south of Sydney here, but I think the whole East Coast had a pretty hot last week or last couple of weeks. I know Saturday here was 32 at 7 a.m, I think it was.
Roundabouts before getting up there.
It got to, I know we're driving through now on the way home from the beach on the weekend, and it was 42 degrees at about 11 a.m, and it was still 42 at sort of 5 p.m. It was just hot everywhere. The westerly wind was blowing, so you couldn't even get out of it. And if you go for a walk on our plots here, we have irrigation set for 2 10-minute cycles, I think we had it on over the weekend, and we've got grass that has been absolutely cooked. So there's just nothing you can really do unless you want to stand there and water it all day long. But it's obviously taken a bit of a toll on home lawns across the country. I've been looking at a number of Facebook posts this morning on the lawn forums, and people are sending photos through of patches on their lawn, and a telltale sign for heat stress, and like I said, we can see it on our plots out there, is it goes a bluey, grey sort of colour in random patches in the middle of your lawn generally, and that is a telltale sign of heat stress. All you can really do is just try and belt the water back into it. Use a wetting agent. You can aerate to help that water penetrate deeper, but otherwise, if you're seeing a purpley grey patch on your lawn this time of year, it is generally heat stress related. A lot of times people mistake it for grub activity because it is a time for grubs as well, particularly if you're sort of Brisbane and north this time of year, grubs can really start to come in. But if you see that purpley grey sort of colour, it is a bit of a sign. And also look for the patterns that it happens in too. If you've got a glass pool fence, generally you'll see the radiated heat cools them off the glass pool fence. Same thing. Just out the back of the studio here, we've got some ColourBond sheds surrounding a turfed area. Smack bang in the middle, it's drying out. So the radiant heat of the ColourBond sheds is pretty intense. But it's not just the heat, it's the humidity that's causing problems as well in lawns. We're seeing a bit of disease.
We have seen a bit of disease, and I think it also throws off the back of the fact that people are trying to water their lawn more because of the heat, but their irrigation practices are incorrect, or they're watering a lot in the evening. So you can obviously do your lawn a detriment if you don't practice correct lawn care. So getting that right's really important. But we've seen a fair bit of disease because of the humidity levels, particularly, sort of like northern New South Wales and further north.
I do feel sorry for people that have installed lawn in the last sort of 2-3 weeks. It is an incredibly difficult time to establish a new lawn. And we've laid some grass out here in our plots. We laid some Tiff Tuff and some Segrange zoysia, and we have been basically non-stop watering these lawn areas, and they're still yellowing to the outside. There's literally nothing you can do sometimes when the weather is so extreme. We're not a typically hot place here. We're about 6 kilometres as the crow flies from the coast, and we have had, what did we have last week? 5 days over 36, I think, which is insane. And for those that have laid a new lawn or are looking at laying a new lawn, if you jump on Google and type in Lawn Solutions Irrigation Guide, you'll be able to go to a link and download a PDF document of our best practice guidelines for turf installation and initial care. And basically, it's a guide to try and encourage you to water a certain amount, particularly if it is a new lawn. And to give you an example, if it's over 30 degrees and windy, for the first 7 days, we're recommending up to 6 times per day an irrigation cycle. And we say an irrigation cycle of about 10 to 15 minutes, which is about 3 to 5 mil of irrigation, depending on your system. So it's really, really important to keep that irrigation up, particularly on a new lawn. When the weather's like this, you cannot water it enough. So an analogy I've used before and I continue to use is just get a towel, dunk it in water, hang it on the clothesline. When that towel is dry, your lawn is ready for a new irrigation cycle. So if you think on a day like we had on Saturday, that towel could be dry in 20 minutes.
Sounds crazy. I know some people question that advice when peak hot conditions are around, but it's quite evident. And it goes against everything we say for established lawns as far as watering. Yep. You want a deep watering less frequently. Well, for a new lawn, that top sort of 30-40 mil of soil is so important to ensure that the roots are staying hydrated as they're establishing into the soil. So you have to short, sharp waterings frequently as you can. Yep. Make sure it stays hydrated and doesn't dry out. So much heat stress has been caused in new turf being laid this time of year. In some cases, you might be best to wait, but you just got to make sure you do it correctly at the end of the day. As soon as the turf arrives, get it down, get it off the pallet. Mm-hmm. I know some people leave it on the pallet or try and water it on the pallet, which is absolutely a no. You're only going to cook it further, so get it down on the ground and get moisture into it as soon as you possibly can.
The only thing you can do to prolong the life of new turf is stick it in the shade. Otherwise, you just got to get it down, like Nathan just said. ASAP. The only good thing about hot weather like this is you can know when your irrigation's not working properly because the patches will show up straight away. I know on our plots out here we've got an issue. We've got an irrigation head in some long Segrange zoysia, and it was popping up and actually hitting the grass and not getting over the grass and getting to where it should be. So if there is a good thing about hot weather, you know pretty quickly where your irrigation is not getting quite to where it should be.
I had one recently actually. They were mowing once every 3 or 4 weeks and they stopped using their irrigation sprinklers purely because it just wasn't working. And it was like, well, you can put the irrigation sprinklers back on. They're going to be effective if you start mowing the lawn, a bit more frequently. So, yeah.
Outside of heat stress and regular lawn dehydration, it is that time of year where we've got to start looking at pests or grubs in our lawn. I think sort of Brisbane and North, they may have had them already, but they're definitely going to be coming soon, is armyworm. And they generally start there and make their way down the coast. In the Sydney sort of market, we'll see them March, April generally. It's funny that we say that, but we had them late last year. I had a horrible outbreak at my place, and a lot of farms around here had the same sort of thing. But what are a couple of things we can look out for armyworm damage?
Well, it's obviously some of the similar signs that you see with heat stress, but I think for armyworm or grub damage in particular, you're looking sort of for a dead mottled appearance to the grass. It spreads quite quickly from one area moving across a lawn. It's not as consistent as heat stress, you want to be doing a grub test as soon as you can to confirm that they are the cause of the deterioration. If the grass pulls up really easy, falls away, it's not attached to the soil because they've eaten out the roots from underneath, all these sorts of things. But I guess in your situation, you knew you had armyworm because it happens so quickly, and that's sort of the thing about it.
That kind of, I always knew it came quickly, but to see the damage that happens over a weekend is insane. So the minute you see increased moth activity, you might have more birds on your lawn. Your lawn just may not look right despite you doing a lot of good things to it. Get a bucket of water, bit of dishwashing liquid, mix up a nice soapy mix and pour it on the water, or just simply stick your hose on the water for a long time and create a bit of a flooding effect, and you'll see grubs come to the surface straight away if they're there. If you do have them, we cannot stress enough how quickly you need to get some knockdown insecticide like bifenthrin, like Lawn Solutions Battle on it straight away. I'm talking get in your car and go to the shop and pick something up and go and get them straight away. The good thing about them, if there is a good thing, is when you use bifenthrin or another knockdown insecticide, you will see results almost instantly. You'll have a lot of very sickly grubs on your lawn quite quickly. Obviously, the best method is prevention rather than cure.
Yeah, so if you're using a knockdown, use it repeatedly. Every 10 to 14 days, 2 to 3 times, you're going to really knock down an infestation. But as Joe just said, I think one of the best things you can possibly do, particularly with a new lawn that you've spent a lot of money investing in the turf, is a preventative grub treatment like Grub Guard Ultimate or an acelepryn-based technology product. Going to protect your lawn for up to 6 months and just gives you that security. A warranty for your lawn in a lot of ways, a bit of an insurance policy, and they work highly effectively. So you might see the moths and things still flying about, eggs being laid, that sort of thing, but your lawn itself is protected from these pests that obviously do such incredible damage quite quickly. So can't recommend a preventative enough. And
the good thing about preventative insecticides is you can put them on straight away, even on a new lawn. These grubs do not discriminate. New lawn, old lawn, it will not matter. They will chew anything they can get their hands on, I guess you'd say. So it doesn't matter what kind of lawn you have, what stage it's on, Grub Guard Ultimate or any acelepryn-based product. You can use a granular, which is great now, or you can spray it on through a liquid, but make sure you get your preventatives on, straight away. Another big problem we're seeing at the moment is one we see often is obviously summer's a great time to go on a holiday. So there's obviously a little bit of a lawn neglect, and it comes back to that heat thing as well. We'll get people, send us photos of their lawn where it's literally half dead. And what happened? I only went away for 3 or 4 days on the weekend, but that's 3 or 4 days of 35 degree plus with a glass pool fence next to your lawn. So mitigating that whilst you're going away, sometimes there's not a lot you can do. Try and leave a little extra leaf on your lawn before you go away. People love to mow before they go away, which is fine. I totally get it. But put a wetting agent down, give your lawn a really, really good drink, and maybe just mow a couple of days before you go and just leave a little bit of extra leaf just to try and protect that lawn as much as you can. Another good thing to consider is go and getting yourself a sprinkler and a tap timer if you're really, really worried if you don't have an irrigation system, or you can ask the neighbour to pop the sprinkler on for you if you're not home. But tap timers, sprinklers are really cheap. They're easy to get your hands on. Just set it up for 15 minutes every second day, and you do not have to worry about it. So if you are going on a holiday, even if it's a couple of days or a week or so, and you're worried about your lawn, I'd encourage you to do that, because I'll guarantee you'll come home disappointed if you don't with the weather that we're getting at the moment.
And the technology in that space has never been better or more cost efficient. Mm-hmm. So you can go out and get a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi powered tap controller that you can set to come on at certain days, certain times. They're pretty cheap nowadays. Just plug them onto the hose, connect it to to your irrigation or your sprinkler or whatever you're using, and it's going to ensure that you don't have to worry about it before you come back. But as Joe said, I see it quite often. People tend to, just before they leave for their holidays, they'll give that lawn a mow and they'll not mow it nice and short, thinking that hopefully they'll keep it under control while they're away. But when they come back, they've actually just left their lawn susceptible to that heat stress, susceptible to other issues, weed invasion. They come back, all sorts of issues. So try not to do that, like Joe said. But another thing you might want to look at, and I'm not sure if we were going to touch on it, but is PGRs. We talk about PGRs a fair bit on the podcast, but a PGR is probably the best time to use it is when you're going on holidays. Yep. If you can slow down the growth of your lawn for a 3 or 4 week period, depending on how long you're going away, you're going to come back and your lawn's not at knee height. Mm-hmm. You haven't left it, vulnerable by trying to hack it down and things like that. So it'll slow down the growth. And
I can give a perfect example of that. We finished work here on Christmas Eve, so the 24th of December, and normally we have somebody come in twice over the break in that sort of 2 weeks we have off and mow and keep everything down nice and low. We put Primo on the 19th of December, Primo HG. We used all over the place at label rates, and we've just fertilised. We're irrigating sort of once or twice a day still on our plots. It's hot. It's getting the most ideal growing conditions. That was on the 19th. We gave it its last mow on the 24th of December. I came into work on the 30th to give it a cut, and I did not mow anything around here. We just had virtually no growth. Look, if you wanted to give it a mow, you could have, but I wasn't going to spend a couple of hours mowing when it really, really didn't need to. So PGRs work unbelievably well, and if you're ever going on a holiday, like Nathan said, or you just want to slow the growth down in your lawn in general because you want to enjoy yourself over summer, I'd look at a PGR like Primo HG for your home garden. It's a great formulation and it works really, really well. Just another point to add for people going on holidays, when you do get back to your lawn and you see it's a little bit stressed out, don't jump on the mower straight away and hack it back if you're worried about the condition of your lawn. Give it a good drink, use a wetting agent, even an application of Exceed liquid fertilizer or Kelper or something like that. Try and generate a little bit of recovery before you go back and smash it back down with the mower, because all you're going to get is more damage rather than rectifying it a little bit first. Even if you wait an extra 3 or 4 days, give it a good drink, rehydrate it, put some nutrients in if you need to. Otherwise, it just shocks the lawn a little bit too much if you just come back from a week and a half away and it's looking sad and you just bash it down with the mower. So try and rehydrate it a little bit before you get into that sort of thing.
And the other thing we see this time of year, your lawn's probably getting more foot traffic from pets and kids than any other time of the year if you're staying home and you're not going away, that is. So if you've got the backyard cricket out and the kids are out there on the lawn and trampolines and slipper and slides and all sorts of things, there's so many factors that can cause wear and tear to the lawn during this period. So being aware of that's pretty important.
Yep.
Doing those things like Joe said to aid recovery, like you do when you'd come back from holidays, get some liquid fertilizer into it, some soil conditioners, soil wetters. Try and just provide it the nutrient and care that it needs to bounce back from those times of stress. Aiding compaction. Compaction's a huge thing when it comes to having repeated foot traffic and pets on an area. So aeration and soil wetters are going to help with that greatly.
Absolutely. And Nathan makes some really, really good points there about keeping some health in your lawn whilst this busy period is happening. On the flip side, if you're probably a little bit like me, I guess, and you want to just enjoy it and let it go and let the kids out there and let them ruin it, once sort of they go back to school or you've got a little bit of time, the best thing you can do is aerate and deep irrigation cycles a couple of times a week. Use a wetting agent, use a liquid or a granular fertilizer, like I said. You don't really need to be belting too much granular fertilizer in at the moment. Your lawn's growing enough with this kind of heat and weather if you're watering, so liquid fertilizers are a great alternative then. But otherwise, keep on top of it if you're stressed about it, but if you're not, let it go, and by the end of January you'll be able to get some nutrients and water back into it, and we're going to have enough months of growth where you'll be able to regenerate some recovery, which will be great. Now, I just want to talk about some new products really quickly, Nathan, that the Lawn Solutions stable has coming out soon. Now, a lot of people here would have heard of Duke herbicide. We have a new product coming out called Ferris, which is the same as Duke. It's just rebranded, and Duke's an excellent product because it does so many different things in one application. You can control onion weed, ryegrass, and then a host of broadleaf weeds as well from one single application. So Duke has been a pretty popular product for us over the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely has. So we're really looking forward to Ferris coming out for us in the market in the Lawn Solutions stable of products. But yeah, the coverage, as you said, as a broad range of things is great. Treating onion weed or onion grass is obviously quite unique to these sort of products, which is great. A lot of people having issues with that and not being able to find a selective herbicide. So that's what it's really great for. So yeah, really interesting to see that come out.
It's also safe on all warm season varieties, I think.
Which is not common. Usually things like Monument aren't safe on buffalo and kikuyu, but Duke is, or Ferris will be so as well. So just really easy to use as far as a broad application herbicide.
And we have a new fungicide coming out called Vacate. So again, that'll be out.
Real quick. Are you feeling stuck and unable to make meaningful progress writing your novel? If so, I invite you to listen to my podcast, Speculative Fiction Writing Made Simple. This is the show that's all about how to brainstorm, write, edit, publish, and sell your novel. As a certified book coach, I share my expertise and guide you to crafting a novel you'll be incredibly proud of. What are you waiting for? Let's get started.
Soon?
I believe in the next couple of months for sure. Ready to go very
Fantastic.
soon.
Yeah, it'll be good timing too towards the back end of the warmer months because disease can be quite prevalent, and as well heading into winter, we saw a lot of what we call winter fusarium or red patch problems, particularly in tough lawns over the winter months in sort of the more arid areas like the Adelaide and Melbourne climates. So keep an eye out for Vacate fungicide, and then one more that I'm really excited about is Battle, but in a hose on. I've been championing this for a number of years now, but I get ignored regularly. But Battle is a fantastic product, bifenthrin-based insecticide, but at the moment we supply it in a 1 litre bottle, which is great because you get a lot of products. It's really good value for money. It's registered for termites, it's registered for ants, it's registered all around the home, obviously for grubs in your home lawn too. But we are bringing out a more cost-effective version, which is a nice, easy-to-use hose-on solution, which I believe will also be out in the next few months as well.
Probably a little bit longer for that one, but yeah, looking forward to that one. Battle Concentrate's great for people who prefer a garden sprayer or a knapsack, but calibration can be a little bit tricky for some people that aren't using sprayers all that often. So the hose-on's going to provide a solution for them just to just clip it onto the hose and ready to go, and you can knock down that grub issue immediately.
Away from products and into more of the turf space. I know turf's a product as well, but we'll talk lawn care products and turf separately. We'll just discuss a little bit about what's happening with some lawn solutions varieties in the marketplace now, and obviously after this we'll give a Stampede update too. So what we're seeing a lot now, particularly around our local area, but also all around the country, is the Segrange zoysia use in public spaces. Now, we've championed it a lot on this podcast. We've had Scott Rowe on a couple of times now, who's an open spaces manager at a pretty prominent local government sector in New South Wales, and he's put it on roundabouts and mown traffic devices, as he calls them, but swales and embankments. But we've seen a couple of new roundabouts around our local area use Segrange zoysia, which is really cool. Yeah,
the Segrange on the local roundabouts looks phenomenal. It was well watered for installation period, and it's come along really well. It's starting to get a little bit of length on it, which is exactly what you want. Obviously, it doesn't need to be mowed in this context on the roundabouts. There's another one in the Nowra area as well. They just look amazing. The green pop of colour is awesome. The councils have done a really good job with the landscaping situation and maintenance of them, setting them up for success.
Yep.
And I think it's a really great space for a grass like this to succeed and provide a cost-effective solution long-term for maintenance.
Yeah, and we take our kids down to the local park here a lot. And we've got Segrange around the pump track down there, and it's just amazing to see that grass's progress. It's been in for, I don't know, maybe 3 years now, I think it is, and it gets absolutely hammered from pillar to post, foot traffic constantly over this holiday period. And you go down there after sort of 2 weeks of hot weather and it looks a bit brown, and then we get 20 mil of rain, and you come back the next week and it's just popped up. It's standing up again, even though it gets constantly flattened by foot traffic. So yes, Segrange zoysia is slow growing and it's not the most wear tolerant cultivar in backyard situations, but when you get full sun and a chance for it to properly establish, it really surprises you how much it actually stands up to wear and tear and how good it looks, let alone the maintenance savings as well.
And we're talking about a situation, or all of these sort of situations, is where councils commonly probably would have put in kikuyu. Mm-hmm. Kikuyu would grow like mad, need mowing all the time. A lot of the time it breaks apart during turf installation, or it needs netting requirements to hold it together. Which then becomes revealed over time with wear and things like that. So the fact that you can replace Kaiku with a Zoysia matrella of this quality being Segrange, it's just, it's awesome. And Kaiku is never going to look as good as this grass looks once it's fully established and doing its thing.
I have so many people comment to me those roundabouts either side of Berry now. It changes the whole dynamic of those traffic devices, and the colour, like Nathan mentioned, is just unbelievable. So it's really, really cool to see it getting used. And if you've been keeping an eye on sort of our media releases or generally turf media releases generally, you'll see a lot of noise about Stampede Hybrid Buffalo, which is really exciting. It's our new soft leaf buffalo that the Lawn Solutions Group is bringing to the market. We've got foundation stock being released all around Australia now, so it's getting planted in about 95% of Lawn Solutions members' farms at the moment around the country. So the rollout is happening probably quicker than what we expected. Stock is going to be available on a limited basis over the coming months, particularly in New South Wales and southeast Queensland. If you're in Victoria or SA, due to climatic measures, you probably won't see Stampede Hybrid Buffalo until early 2027. But there's quite a bit of interest around at the moment with Stampede.
There definitely is. So we're trying to provide a little bit of an insight as we go through the process of production leading into supply. We've talked about it on the podcast here a few times. We've got our Turf Talk magazine as well, where we're revealing a little bit more information with those biannual updates there. Check out the Lawn Solutions Australia website. On the Stampede Turf Variety page on the LSA website, if you scroll down to the bottom there's a register your interest option there. We're providing emails to that database on a regular basis with information about the cultivar, expectations, the traits of the grass, a bit of history of the research and development that's gone into Stampede and releasing it. So jump on there, register your interest if you want to know more on a regular basis via email as well. It's a great way to be communicated with on that. And once supply becomes available in your area, we'll be able to let you know as soon as possible so that you can contact your local grower.
And it's really exciting for the feedback we're getting. Obviously, the feedback we're getting at the moment is in production areas, in farms. We do have a little bit around the place in some home lawns and some other trial sites, which is going really well. But the general farm feedback is the colour is amazing. Sir Walter DNA is a fantastic grass with excellent colour, but to see one that's even greener is really, really exciting. And the sheer vigour of this product, lateral vigour, I'd say, as opposed to vertical growth. The lateral vigour is really good. It forms a crop super quickly, which is going to show it's going to be a very wear tolerant cultivar in the backyard, front yard situation. But we've laid some on the same day from the same farm next to Sir Walter DNA in our plots here, and you could notice a real difference at the start. Stampede established that a little bit quicker. The leaf was a lot greener, a lot more substance to the leaf. I'd guess you say it was a lot bulkier. But as they sort of matured, the difference was probably less and less noticeable to the naked eye just walking past. But it was cool to see Mick get the drone up the other day and zoom on down when it was 3 or 4 months post installation, and you can still see the difference in colour between the Stampede and the Sir Walter. Really well fertilised, looked after area. So the natural colour being a couple of shades darker is something that's really, really exciting.
When you're looking at buffaloes, grasses in general, we've got plots with 10, 15 different buffalo grasses all next to each other. Can't tell the difference for the most part from a distance. You get up close, obviously you're going to notice some difference in stolen colour and things like that, and growth rates and things like that. But at the end of the day, what you're expecting with a buffalo grass mainly is obviously those improved traits. You want something that's going to be more wear tolerant, quicker recovering, less disease, but the great thing, Stampede's showing all those things, but it's also noticeable as far as we look at it from a distance and go, oh, that's Stampede. We can tell it's Stampede. It's got a really nice dark genetic colour as well. So that's exciting to see, because obviously as a homeowner, you want to see that you've made an investment in a new and improved product that's going to visibly be different to a certain degree, as well as perform better for you. So that's what we're excited about as well.
So keep an eye out, and like Nathan said, jump on the Stampede page on the Lawn Solutions website to register your interest to get some updates. But otherwise, you'll see it across our platforms over the next few months, where we start to announce some release dates, which is really, really exciting. But I think that's about it for our first podcast of 2026. Obviously, the weather is the most critical thing at the moment for people that are managing lawn areas. I know our farmers have had a hard time keeping the water up to things. It's just been so hot and so dry. And I was talking to a guy the other day who's getting up at, got an alarm set every 2.5 hours through the night just to make sure the water gets onto the crop, so it's nice and healthy and looking as good as it possibly can for the end user. But I think that's about it for us today, Nath.
Yeah, thoughts go out to also those affected by the bushfires at the moment in Victoria. Devastating. Obviously, a lot of people have lost their homes down there. So thoughts go out to them. Things like that are way more important than your front lawn and things like that. So yeah, definitely thinking of those at the moment. And we've got turf producers in and around some of these areas. So we're keeping in touch with them as well to make sure that their families are safe and that work and business come secondary to your family and your home. So.
Absolutely. No, well said. No, it is something that we forget sometimes around Australia is how prone we are to events like this at this time of year. So, yeah, our thoughts absolutely go out to everyone affected throughout central Victoria. But otherwise, if you've got any questions or need more information about any of the products or things we've spoken about today, you can always jump on the Lawn Solutions Australia website or go and visit your local Lawn Solutions Australia member, and I'm sure they will be happy to help you out. But thanks for tuning in. And again, we look forward to bringing you more wonderful episodes with a lot of special guests over the next few months. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.